the fifth starter competition, Bubic and Lynch, and anybody else you think might be competing for that spot? Just how you see that, how have you seen that play out over the last couple of weeks, and what are you looking for in the next few weeks?
Yeah, it's exciting to see guys compete, right? You know, Lynch is doing a fantastic job in his growth as a starter. The same with Bubic. Right, you know, we got to see, we're seeing Noah Cameron, who's getting a start here in a few days. So it's really cool to see their progression through spring training and then learning through that process as well.
With Bubic, did you have to talk about like an innings limit at all with him at some point in the year, based on him coming off of surgery the shorter stints last year?
Sure, yeah, it's absolutely something to consider. For him, coming off TJ, being a reliever, but pitching into those high leverage innings, those were a little bit higher stake than say lower leverage innings. So that gives us a little bit, we're a little bit more comfortable, pushing the limits of that a little bit. I believe he had 64 innings, so we'll be definitely paying attention to his workload.
Top three starters, is the expectation that they meet that innings total from a season ago?
If you talk to them, I bet you they tell you they're going to go above and beyond. Every one of them want to hit that 200 mark, and we encourage that. I would love to see it, and they're determined to get there.
Ryan, what's it been like working with Lorenzen, and how much more do you know about him now than since mid-season last year?
It's been really fun to get to know him, right? It takes a minute to develop that relationship, and he's really inquisitive. He asks great questions. He wants to get better. He's been around the league. He's going to get his 10th year in the major leagues this year, and he still wants to get better. He feels he can pitch design. He can get more out of his body. He can do a lot of different things as a pitcher. And just sitting down and having a conversation with him is a learning experience in itself for me and for the rest of the staff. So it's really been fun getting to know him.
How so a learning experience for you with him? He talks a little bit about that he tends to do some things in an unorthodox fashion. I'm really not sure what he means.
Well, just have a conversation with him about pitching, and you build a campfire because you'll be there for a while, right? Because it's great. He's inquisitive. He wants to talk baseball, and that's what we encourage in the locker room. You see those guys sitting around the couch in there. They may not be talking baseball all the time, but they're getting to know each other, and then talking about something that happened in the game or something about the delivery, a pitch grip, right? And those conversations, next thing you know, it's an hour later, like, wow, I got to go out. I'm going to miss stretch, and it's really cool. Like it's things like that. Like things snowball. You talk about the game. You talk about how do you get better, and each one of these guys brings an aspect of that.
And just the only other thing for me is really the challenge or the upside, whatever you would call it, of working with a guy like him and with Seth with all those pitches. Mm-hmm. What is that like for you to hone in on? Developing all that. Yeah,
it's actually really exciting, right? The unpredictability of what they can bring to an at bat. The hardest thing for me is to talk to veterans like Luke Maley that have to catch him for the first time and explaining their plan of attack, right? Seth Lugo has 11 pitches, and right, how does he want to deploy them? Thank goodness he uses the pitch count most of the time, and Lorenzen does as well. But it's understanding how to use all of those pitches, I think, is really the main idea. And the cool part is we have everything we can, at our disposal to track that kind of stuff.
With Lorenzen, how immediate was the buy-in when he came over last year of changing up the pitch usage, especially to righties, the slider, the sweeper, and how did the success with that, I guess, make it enticing for him to come back and for the Royals to get him back?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, right? It's really hard when somebody comes over in a trade to just trust that we had the right to speak into his life. Just sitting down, having a conversation with him, letting him know that we're here to help, and are you interested in hearing what we have to say as a group? And he's always open to learning. And sitting down, talking about it, and him asking the great questions, going against maybe what we say or saying yes to it, creating that good conversation to say, yeah, all right, that does make sense. And then when you have a little bit of success with it, that's helpful. That's helpful in kind of driving the message home.
What did you guys recognize last year about those two pitches in particular that said, hey, you know what, this one is going to be much more effective against righties than what you might have been doing?
Yeah, it's really just paying attention to the details. If we're looking for swing and miss, what's your swing and miss pitch versus a right-hander? Let's use that more. Do you need that swing and miss in an 0 count? Not necessarily. What's your weak contact pitch, right? It's playing that chess game. As Zach Bove likes to say, we'd like to play chess while other people are playing checkers.
Brian, with Cole, he seemed to be pretty upset about the way last year, and I mean, a lot of guys on your team feel like they could have done more in the playoffs, but what did you notice just with him in particular about just the way he came back to spring?
His off season is really, so self-directed on improving every aspect of his game. He comes into spring training like it's game one of the playoffs, and I think as he grows as a baseball player, that he'll understand that it's a building process. We're getting ready for opening day, and then 162 games, and hopefully 162 games plus. After his outing versus the Cubs previously, he was pretty irritated at the way he pitched. And he had a different mentality coming in, which is more of an in-season mentality that got him ready for yesterday. And that intensity level where he was at, he's borderline grumpy, but that's the perfect intensity level for Cole. If he gets too much, that gets him out of sync. If his energy level's too low, I saw an intensity level yesterday for Cole that in adversity or when things are going well, it's the perfect level for him.
He told Andy yesterday just about his, not being as predictable to left-handers as far. What goes into that besides just how many pitches that you're throwing as far as maybe, did you guys look into his count usage, whether or not hitters maybe were picking up on preferences and that sort of thing?
Oh, yeah. It probably wasn't a mistake that first time the Cubs threw a bunch of those lefties against them, right? And the league will be paying attention to that, right? They're going to, they see that, and Cole has to counterpunch. He doesn't feel like he has problems with lefties, right? But we look at the numbers and say, well, where can we improve? What is that? Is it location? Is it location based? Is it a pitch? Is it count based? There's a lot of ways we can decipher that plan of attack versus left-handed hitters, and it's a really cool puzzle piece to put together. And it's that third part of the puzzle here on the shirt, that plan of attack. How are we going to get lefties out, and what can you do? And he has all the tools in the world to do it.
And one
Soccer
last
ball. The soccer ball.
This sort of a soccer ball. I like the design. I think it's the shirt that makes it turn into a soccer shirt.
Sure.
Well,
Nice.
it's four home plates. I think that's the.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Maltese cross, kind of fire department centered on the heart, but maybe we kind of missed out on that a little bit. It's all right.
Just one extra thing on Bubic too. How much do you feel like his success in those small situations still, even if he does transition to a longer stint in it as a starter or something?
Yeah.
How do you feel like that still translates the success that he had last year?
Oh, I think it absolutely translates. He's a pitcher, right? He has another tool in his toolkit as being a high leverage reliever. What can he take from being a high leverage reliever back into the starting rotation again? Remember, the first year I was here when he was in the rotation. Pretty good start. I mean, it was a new slider, really exciting start. Unfortunately, he got hurt. Went through that journey where he grew as a person and a player, and now we're seeing the fruits of that journey. On the other side of what happened, and just doing a tremendous job. This guy knows how to pitch. He's a professional and always looking to get better every day.